Sideline of ball. Lakewood doing it. They're gonna take. He's gonna bring down Burning. Almost with a double kill. Dropping fast. Monopoint's there. He's still alive. Wait, seconds left. He's got one side. He's got a second. He's taking it back. Oh my God! On three. They're all dead.
Welcome back to the Summit 2 by G2A.com. I'm Zyori. We've got our last best of three for the European qualifier coming up here. Team Lions facing off against BBC, the Balkan Bears. Oh, boy, is it going to be a good one. BBC just won out over MYI, but let's get right into the draft. Boy, are these teams going by quickly. We got started a little bit late, and just very little bonus time has been used. So we've got Faceless Void Death Prophet picked up by Team Lions to get things started. The Balkan Bears, they're going to grab themselves the Centaur and the Skywrath Mage out of the gate. So Balkan Bears have a pretty good draft here with the Lifestealer. They've got a nice delivery vehicle. In that of the Centaur War Runner, he'll clippity-clop, blink his way into the team fight. Infest Bomb comes out. Not a bad way to get things started. Now, Team Lions, probably going to call him Team Lajons at least a couple of times here. Papa Lajons, if you will. A pretty conventional draft. They got the Mirana Shadow Demon, an old duo that is still quite potent even on this patch, and Faceless Void Death Prophet, two heroes from 6.81 that have gotten a lot of momentum still here on this patch. Now, we just saw an impressive display, especially in that third game of BBC versus MYI, the W33 Invoker getting out of control. And as LD put it, one of the best Invokers he's ever seen. So, whoo, boy, that means something. But it will be banned out here by Lions. Looks like they did some of their homework. They were watching that last series. Meepo could be a potential option if they wanted to do like a mid-Meepo. Could do something like that. Another one of the signature heroes on W33.
Legion Commander.
But they go the LC. Okay, a great hero on this current patch. As Blaze has pointed out many a time, one that's a little bit less of a problem with that new rubber band system. She gets all that bonus damage, lets her scale towards the late game, and you can't take that away from her. It's not summed up in net worth, so an interesting little just bump that LC has gotten, and still a pretty strong hero overall. It looks like it'll probably be an LC headed towards the mid lane. You've got Centaur headed towards the off lane. Then you have a safe lane try, get some farm for Lifestealer, and a potential killer try lane with that Ancient Apparition, Skywrath, and the Lifestealer. Team Lions, they won't do anything too wild here with their last pick. It'll be a Vengeful Spirit, so a really potential killer tri-lane, but they are going to do something interesting in the way of who's playing what, and I wonder if they'll swap when we get into the game, but Era picks up the Vengeful Spirit, and he's been their position 1 player. Will we see a core Venge? And it looks like it. No Swaperinos coming out. Oh boy, this is exciting, and look at this. He grabs a Ring of Protection. That's a carry Venge if I ever saw one. I shouldn't use the word carry Venge. It's really a core Venge is what's more appropriate. But this is interesting. Very interesting. So they've got Quicks as one of their stand-ins here. He will be headed towards the mid lane. Jonas some fun, if you will. Headed to the off lane with the weird-looking, the squiddy, whole squitter there, the tentacular Time Lord. Oh, boy. He'll be on the off lane, and they will do a safe lane try. Now, this is a pretty killer try lane. Even with the support Mirana, it'll be My Nuts! Heyo, he's playing on the Priestess of the Moon. It's sort of one of his signature heroes. We've seen him play a lot of Mirana throughout this qualifier. And it will be Mini, their other stand-in here, playing on the Shadow Demon. So still some kill potential set up at the arrows. You got the follow-up stun from Venge, and plus the Vengeance Aura. Gives you a lot of extra right-click and give him the old left-right 1-2. And you got some kill potential. Even put down a nice aggressive lane ward here. Look at these. I love these wards. This is my absolute favorite. The little monocle with the little, it looks like the little Mr. Planner's peanut, except a ward. It's awesome. So they'll get a lane ward down, looking to kill some people up here, it looks like. Radiant will get 1 ward down in their jungle, so they've got a little bit of vision of that bottom rune and into their entryway here. The second Dire ward comes on the high ground on the Radiant Ancients, so they'll have some vision of the mid lane, and I think suffice it to say, My Nuts, he might be cruising around looking to throw some arrows towards the mid.
The prize is mine.
Already? Hold on a sec. Sorry about that. We're back. Okay. Admin issues. Multitasking many hats. Uh-oh, we'll see a first blood attempt up top. The arrow will be on the mark, and oh, Padrino, we didn't even get to introduce your roster yet, and already the first blood will come out. This killer tri-lane will live up to its name, and My Nuts will secure the first blood with this scary trio of heroes up here. So Centaur, oof, off to a rough start. Let's introduce our Radiant side, see how they're laning it up. It will be Hockey. He'll be on the safe lane Legion Commander here, farming away. He'll be joined by, I can't read purple while you're moving, Solitude on the Skywrath Mage, supporting in the bottom lane. Levy will be on the Ancient Apparition, supporting W33, who will be headed mid on the Lifestealer. With the offlane Centaur, Padrino, yeah, we've seen him already, rocking the Iron Man cosmetics. So he'll be moving around a little bit here. We'll see what he ends up doing. He wants to just put a ward down on the high ground outside of the Radiant Ancient. So they want to be safe of that Mirana perhaps rotating through. They've already seen the power of the arrows. And, well, they want to keep their mid lane safe. Looks like Centaur will just give up on the off lane already and just move right into the jungle. And he'll go into the Satyr camp. So one of the easier camps for him to pick up has the Stout Shield. So he will be able to find at least a little bit of farm and maybe get that Ring of Regen and help him out in the lane presence. But this is not an easy laning situation for him. Now, Dire offlaner, Faceless Void, generally the more difficult of the offlanes, but he's doing all right so far. At least found his level 2, has the Poor Man's Shield, a little bit of regen left, and we'll find this Bounty Rune here as he tries to intercept in the jungle. Sorry, more multitasking coming about here. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Looks like we'll see a rotation from Lions. Well, maybe thinking about moving towards the top lane, but they won't find the Centaur, so instead they'll rotate towards mid. This new ward that the Centaur put down will help him out, but hey, Mini's right there. He's got a Sentry ward down, and he'll be able to get some vision control here towards the mid. Minot's on the high ground, looking for an arrow opening. We'll take a look at the Dire Vision, and boy, do they have plenty of it. So this could be a bit scary. Quicks baiting it out. Open wounds, flies through. Arrow coming in. Will connect onto Levy from downtown. A lot of damage coming out on him, but will they be able to turn it around for a kill? Not enough mana for a Crypt Swarm. Minots will leap forward, looking to set something up. The Disruption will fly through to try and create some space. Quicks, can he get the mana for this Crypt Swarm? 110, he's still 15 away, but Minots laying into him from the high ground. Arrow will connect on W33. They want this kill, but they just can't find it. The Centaur being in the mix will help zone him out, and that will be the end of this little exchange. A nice arrow from My Nuts, but unfortunately won't yield any kind of a kill there. I guess the real victory is that Quicks didn't die. If only he had his bottle, that would have been nice and easy with just a strike Crypt Swarm. But he will make it out, and that'll be good news for the opening here. Smoke rotation for Lions. Two supports will move down towards the bottom lane, won't wait for the rune. Instead, they want to try and gank this Legion Commander. Farming away in the safe lane, getting pretty decent farm down here, 16 and 6. Pardon me, 20 and 9. Oh, even better than I thought. Still a little bit behind Era in that safe lane, but they're ready to rotate. Smoke will be revealed as Jonas moves into the jungle. They'll set up the disruption. Arrow flies through. Soul Catcher on top. Solitude will get cleansed up. The attack gets pressed, but they're not done yet. Time walk forward. It'll be enough to slow him down. They find the kill on the Skywrath, but now Levy TP's in. Jonas stuck in the tree line. Nowhere to go. No TP scroll. He'll be able to pick one up here, but doesn't even have the mana to use it. So he'll just waste as much of the LC's time as he can, but falls to the wrath of the Legion with a chilling touch. That'll secure his power treads. And it will be a 1-for-1, and a pretty even trade. Look at the recap, and of course, it only finds the one kill. So, well, Faceless Void gets a little bit of experience out of it, I guess. Not all bad. Now, I'm curious what item build Era will go for here. If it will be more of a carry Venge, or if it's just more of that farming priority for some utility items. We'll see a lot of Venges in this situation. Just rush the mech, because, well, you want to swap, get aggressive, and having the heal on your person gives you that flexibility and helps you tank up a little bit. He will pick up Phase Boots first, so he's right-clicking pretty hard. Only 1 point in the aura, and actually maxing out the Wave of Terror right now to maximize the minus armor reduction and perhaps some of his solo kill potential. Just going for the value point in the magic missile at level 1. You know, Era is the last hit leader. Of course, he won't carry nearly as hard as a Life Stealer or an LC, but his early farm is looking quite strong. The roaming support duo of Team Lions, they've been fairly successful thus far. The riskiest part of this is getting under-leveled. But we'll see, they've both found level 3, so not too shabby. Lane Ward comes down up top. Take a look at the dire vision, and they've got plenty of it. Soul Catcher flies through. Arrow will be on the mark once more. TP in from Levy, but won't be able to do anything to keep this Centaur alive. He will throw out a chilling touch, but now he needs to be a little careful. W33, he even rotates in also. My Nuts on the run, and he should be just fine. So it's kind of a wasted TP from W33. Doesn't get anything out of it, and will just have to walk his way back towards the mid lane to keep farming. My Nuts connects with an arrow onto Levy and may find a solo kill out of this. No Starstorm, but does have a leap if he needs it to secure this one. Levy trying to fog as best he can, but one more arrow will bring him down. The Centaur TP's in, and again, too little, too late, and that'll make it 4-1 as My Nuts, finding a lot of success on this roaming Mirana, finds his level 4. As Quicks now grabs an invisibility rune in the mid lane. Let's take a look at the graph and see how things are faring overall. It's about a 2,500 gold, 1,000 experience lead for Lions. Up top, My Nuts camping it out, looking for the Centaur. This is the dire vision, so he's hiding in the darkness for now, but could throw a fishing arrow and look for something to happen. Era is now level 7, so maxed out Wave of Terror, making those right clicks pack quite the punch, but no, they'll play it safe and just back up for now. Radiant side, their 2 carries are farming pretty decently. Hockey will find his level 6, so Duel is available. Looks like he's already used it once, but no kill will be yielded from that. And W33 just phase boots what looks to be into drums. So no Handamitis, no late game farming tools. They'll go for a more early to mid game focused kind of carry style so that they can get active in these team fights. But Solitude, he'll walk right into Jonas Mini. He's on his way down, but he's picked up boots, and that Skywrath Mage is pretty damn speedy. So they'll just let him get back to the lane. And Faceless Void will go back to intercepting the creep wave here and leeching all that experience he can. Now finds his level 5, going a 3-1-1, finds the value point and backtrack. I like it. Helps in the off lane quite a bit, and still doing a lot better than the Centaur, who is sitting level 4 and found basically nothing in the way of farm. He's got 6 last hits, but he's already been picked off twice. Death Prophet is also farming pretty well, 34 last hits. It's been a duo lane in the mid for most of it, so that is making her life a little bit more difficult, but still able to throw out those Crypt Swarms, and now has the bottle, so her mana options are a little bit more open. I think My Nuts, yeah, one of the first ones to upgrade his boots here on the side of the Dire, him as well as Era, both going with the phase boots. And Era with 800 gold, Aquila, and just a Bracer, so maybe he's looking for some drums of his own late game options. Plenty of them. Plenty of them for sure. Well, Lions will move into the top tier 1 tower just about right away as Centaur has abandoned the lane. It's going to be an easy push for him. He will finally finish up his Tranquil Boots as mid lane Quicks gets initiated on 3 TPs. One of them will get canceled, but a huge reaction coming out of the Dire side, and an overreaction at that. They won't find a counter kill, and that little bit of aggression will quell the top tier 1 tower push. Or will it actually? The siege creep will have enough to let Era bring it down. He secures the last hit, and that'll be the first tower kill of the game, going the way of Team Lions. It will be a Drum of Endurance following the phase boots out for Era. And now we'll look towards the mid lane as it is a 2v2. My Nuts and Mini going blow for blow here. Ooh, open wounds comes out onto Mini, and he will throw out the disruption. Now the Vulcan Bears, W33, getting pretty aggressive here. He'll use his rage, but it'll soon to expire. Now Quick's on his way in, has the Exorcism, finds the kill on Levy, and it'll end up being a 1-0 the other way. The Lifestealer will be able to survive as he infests inside of a creep, but they lose their Ancient Apparition, and now this tier 1 tower mid will take some decent damage. Not sure they'll be able to completely knock it down. The glyph will come out as it's been reset from that top tower. Skywrath Mage coming in, doing a lot of damage to My Nuts. Will get the defensive disruption, has a leap straight away. Great coordination from Lions, and they will survive the onslaught. Exorcism will dissipate here, heal up the Death Prophet, and they do a little bit of damage to the tower, but they force out the glyph, so that will make it a slightly easier push next rotation once they want to exercise that Death Prophet. Void is now 6, so Chronosphere is here, and there could be some kill potential if Mirana wanted to rotate down. Makes for pretty easy arrows, even though Jonas doesn't really have much in the way of farm. LC, not the tankiest beast on the field right now, just Power Treads and Basilius, but a lot of gold in the bank, and LC will have a well-timed Blink Dagger here, just shy of the 11-minute mark as he finishes off this creep wave. So Blink Dagger on LC, maybe that's when BBC will start moving around, getting a little more aggressive. It's never too early to start racking up bonus damage on your Legion Commander. There's your Blink Dagger picked up now, but Jonas, Invisibility Rune on, thinking about it. Will use the Chronosphere to interrupt the TP. There is a Wave of Terror from the Venge, who's going to make it in time to drop the stun after the press attack comes out. Arrow to follow through, and they'll bring down the LC. And now in the mid lane, Stampede's been used. Quick's taking a lot of damage, but will be able to TP home. No way to interrupt it. And the Death Prophet will survive. So obviously Centaur has found his level 6. First Stampede will not yield a successful kill. Lions finding victories all over the map. They interrupt the TP on the LC, find the kill to follow it up, and their DP survives. Now they'll be able to get another tier 1 tower without a glyph. Ends up being an easy push. This time Faceless Void gets the last hit, so they'll find Jonas a little bit of recovery farm. That'll complete his power treads, and he is starting to come online a bit here. Solitude could be in some trouble. Arrow looking for the swap, but won't be able to find it as the concussive shot, will slow him down. Arrow almost connects, but he'll be able to sidestep it, and it does expire in due time. Mini finds himself an Urn of Shadows. Will set up a disruption onto W33, but follow-up isn't quite inbound. Era and Minot starting to rotate around. Looks like Era may just move into a Yasha coming up next. Band of Elven Skin there as Hockey blinks over the tree line looking for a duel. Can't find it right away, and now they'll just sound the retreat. Overwhelming odds will connect. Does a little bit of damage, but no way to close the gap, and Vengeful Spirit will walk back to safety. 6-1. Again, Glenn's get the gold graph. Lions with a 5,000 gold lead, about 3,500 experience, only 12 minutes in. They are off to one hell of a start here. Quix's farm looking pretty solid also. Well on his way to the Yule's Scepter, Staff of Wizardry, and looks like that'll be a Void Stone picked up on the... Oh, he has the full Yule's. Pardon me. Has the recipe in Sage's Mask already. Grabs the last piece, and yeah, that DP's farm looking pretty solid. Number 2 on net worth overall, and off to a great item trajectory out of the gate. Lifestealer, similar route, has gone Phase Boots Drums, so he's looking okay in his farm, but just middle of the pack. And without these late-game farming tools, Lions, well, they'll have a lot of momentum. We'll see what they can do with it, though. Per usual, with this rubber band effect, never too late to see a turnaround come in. Ice Blast will get juked by all parties here. Minot's leaps just in the nick of time, and will not feel the wrath of the snowball. So things will quiet down a little bit. Everybody kind of goes back to farming. A couple of Keelas picked up. Looks like Minuts will grab another one here. So that's 2 on the side of the Dire. As Mini gets found. There's your first duel, and this is that dubious duo that we've seen so often. The Skywrath Mage and the LC duel into Mystic Flare usually yields a kill. And here at the 13-minute mark, we'll see that first bout of plus 10 damage come on to Hockey and his Legion Commander. Stampede used, and it's down bottom, I guess, so that Levy will survive against the Wrath of Era. Nowhere else on the map anyone was taking pressure, so I guess that was it. But that's a Stampede on cooldown, and not much will come of it. Minot's rotating through the Radiant jungle. Looking for an arrow opportunity. Launches it down bottom, but Levy will already be in a defensive posture, and he'll be just fine. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Chronosphere from Jonas comes out onto Pedrino. And DP is there. One last stray auto attack will be enough to bring him down. Ice Blast will hit Jonas, but that'll be it. And they'll sound the retreat. All these little singleton pickoffs starting to add up for the Dire side. And well, they'll pick off the Centaur once more. This poor Centaur, man, he can't find much momentum this game. His Blink Dagger is still a long ways coming. At the 14-minute mark here, not too much gold in the inventory. Mini will get initiated on. W33 flying through the arrow. Will not connect, but Magic Missile's there. As the Dubs will chase down Mini, but still plenty of hit points to spare. Lions nearby. They'll have a duel out on Quix, but he'll be the one to get the damage. Mystic Flare comes in, but he'll be able to reset himself with the Yules. You don't want to duel a DP when she's got the Exorcism on, and that will definitely not end the way LC was hoping for. Era almost finds the kill onto Levy, and they get it. The Wave of Terror with the negative earn, more than enough to bring him down. Now Solitude gets swapped back. Era there with the Magic Missile, the follow-up damage. It's a dead Skywrath, and it'll be a 3-0 in the mid lane as BBC just get picked apart. Glyph comes out, but this Tier 1 tower is certain to fall. Exorcism expires, but it just doesn't matter. They'll have enough to click it down. And yet another very successful fight for the Dire side. Another nearly 2,000 net worth change moving into their favor. 7,500 gold and experience now the lead for the Dire side, and we're only 15 minutes in. Quicks with 1,800 gold. We'll go for the value vitality booster for now. We'll see if he just goes straight for the Heart of Tarrasque or if it's a value piece, but either way will really help tank him up now to about 1,200 hit points. Looks like W33 moving into an armlet of sorts here on the Lifestealer. We'll just have the Helm of Iron Will for now. But part of the problem with this Centaur getting shut down so hard in the early phase is that he's not going to have a Blink Dagger anytime soon, and that's your delivery vehicle for the Lifestealer. So when you don't have any way to deliver him, it really just it quells the amount of impact that he can have. Infest is such a useful ability, and you need some way to get that damage off. And if you don't have your Centaur with a Blink Dagger, sure, you can Stampede in, but it's not quite the same effect, and a little bit easier to react to, especially when you've got a Void and a Mirana who can use their gap closers to get away. I guess the inverse gap closers there. And you've got the defensive disruption, which makes it a little bit easier to react to when you're running in with the Stampede. Mini always has that option to get off a disruption with plenty of time to spare. And, almost kill up top as Faceless Void gets jumped on. Hockey using that Blink Dagger to much avail, and will find a little bit of extra damage now up to plus 20. So that is something going the way of the Radiant side. It looks like, Jonas has gone back for a Hand of Midas. So this offlane Void will start to transition to a little more of a carry, as he does have that farming tool. All right, so BBC, they'll kind of group up about their mid lane here. Padrino just trying to find any farm that he can. 1,600 gold, but they're stalking him out on the high ground. Shadow Poison, he'll use his Stampede to make the getaway. But that's all you need to do to force out a Stampede. Easy peasy there. Lifestealer caught in the mid lane as the Death Prophet with a Haste Rune will chase him down. Exorcism on. Era's there with the swap, and he'll hop inside of a creep, but it's just not enough. The Chronosphere comes out. That stops him dead in the tracks. Hockey will get finished off. Solitude, is he being able to book it to the high ground? It's not looking so good. Quicks will try and chase him down. Still a little bit of time left on the Ghosts here. Haste Rune soon to expire, but there's your Time Walk to the low ground, and that'll be the end of the Skywrath Mage. It gets off a Mystic Flare before he goes down, but it's another 3-for-0 trade. And now this Tier 2 tower mid may find itself under heavy assault as Lions will press forward. Another over 2,000 net worth change going the way of the Dire side, and the gap is growing. This core Vengeful Spirit now with a Yasha online, probably looking for an S&Y. I know it's an item that Era likes just in general, and especially at a timing like this will help tank up this Venge, give her a little bit of movement speed, and his right clicks starting to add up. Hits for 170 a pop. Oh, man. Well, now this Death Prophet with 2,100 gold, probably pooling just towards the Heart of Tarrasque, but not too far off. Padrino gets initiated on. No Stampede for another 18 seconds. Arrow flies through, connects, and Centaur goes down once more. Few steps forward, but quite a few steps back. 0 reliable gold on this guy, so every time he dies, those are steps backwards towards getting that Blink Dagger, and this is the big bottleneck for BBC. They needed this Centaur to control these mid-game tempos, create some space for their LC and their Lifestealer to find their baseline of farm, and he's just not doing it. He's on the feed train right now. He's down near the Dire supports. Him and Shadow Demon are just about dead even in net worth, and that is, well, that is not good news for the Radiant side, to say the least. I mean, look at this Ancient Apparition. He's level 7, but he's got less than 1,000 net worth. He has nothing but consumables. Tango's TP scroll and an Observer Ward. He can't even afford boots. Oh, Levy. He needs welfare. He is so poor at this point. Lifestealers. Okay, he's got an armlet, so that's a pretty decent core item, but the difference in inventories is just so huge here. You've got a Blink Dagger and an armlet is kind of big core items so far. Meanwhile, on the other side, you've got a Midas. You've got nearly a Manta style complete on the Vengeful Spirit, so not the S&Y I was thinking, but still Manta going to give Era quite a bit of HP there. Quicks, not that far off a Heart of Tarrasque, to be perfectly frank, and already has the Yule Scepter. A lot of core items coming out on the side of the Dire. They'll move right into the Roche Pit, and with the Wave of Terror plus the ultimate from DP, this will make for a pretty quick Roche. No time for the Radiant to react, and Aegis of the Immortal will get picked up by, looks like Era's going to be the one to grab it, not the DP. Immortality, says Vengeful Spirit. So now Era will have a second life. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the surprise inside of the LC, they're going to try to jump on Jonas once more. Ice Blast will be off the mark. Press your attack's been used. Jonas, maybe a little scared now that he saw the Ice Blast fly through. A lot of heroes missing off the map. He is in a pretty good position. With fast fingers, once LC blinks over, he could drop a fast chrono and then look to make the escape if the blink isn't instantaneous. But Jonas will position himself right, and now he's going to go. Now he's going to be the one to take the aggressive posture here and maybe jump over the tree line. Blade Mail going to be completed on the LC once he gets used to the Courier, and Jonas will actually have his Mask of Madness completed also. TP's coming in. Mini will get dueled right away, but oh, that's a winner. There's going to be some damage onto the LC. But now the fight will break out. They'll lose the Legion Commander and the Life Stealer. He's in deep doo-doo. He's all by himself. Ice Blast comes in, but what's it going to do? Not enough for a kill, and it's a 2-for-1. Sure, they get a little bit of damage on the LC, but I don't think that was really worth it. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Minot's and Levy going blow for blow. Minot's may go down here as he gets caught inside of the cold feet. And that'll be the end of him. Looks like a... Yep. So he'll go down. Doesn't do any damage to the tower. Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade there. Could have probably made the escape had he not been stuck in the cold feet, but still finds a kill. And with that, Centaur will finally get his Blink Dagger. 21 minutes in. He'll get it, but a lot of the damage has been done. Looking at the net worth, this is already scary. 15,000 gold, 14,000 experience. The tempos have already gotten out of control, and we'll see if Centaur can start mounting a recovery, but it will be a difficult road to climb. All right, we see the Blade Mail out on the LC. Maybe that can... Maybe that, in tandem with the Blink on the Centaur, they can start getting some kills and regain some momentum. 34 damage on the LC, 21 minutes, not too shabby, but that's kind of the best thing they have going for him. Lifestealer's farm, a little bit better. He will be the surprise inside now. They'll jump onto Jonas, the duel to start things off. Centaur's there with a double edge, and that's a little bit more damage. Now 48 on the LC, but Moonlight Shadow comes in. Era's on the aggressive. He wants Hockey. And, okay, Magic Missile comes out, but needs to be careful with this Centaur. There's still a surprise inside. And now the Exorcism comes in. Moonlight Shadow still deployed. And the Infest Bomb will be utilized. Quick's taking a lot of damage. He'll actually be the first to go down. He does not have the Aegis of the Immortal. Remember, it's Era. He'll lose it now. Not the ideal fight for Lions, but a lot of low health heroes on the Radiant side. Can they come in and play clean house? Minot's doing a lot of damage to Hockey. Will be able to bring him down, but W33 secures the counter kill. Mini on the odd side of the ravine here will connect with the disruption. That sets up the kill as Era comes in to bring him down. So end of the day, it is still Lions that come out ahead. They do lose their Aegis. Not the cleanest exchange they've had, but still a decent team fight, and they'll get the edge as they finish off this Tier 2 tower in the top lane just to boost their net worth bonus that much more. So yeah, BBC get the better out of that exchange in terms of net worth because of ending some streaks, but the tower does tip the scales, and still Lions will be okay with that trade. Era with 2,000 gold. Okay, he picks up a Perseverance straight away. Probably a Lincoln's coming out, is in the mid. Solitude will get picked off as Jonas flies through with a Chronosphere. That'll be a Heart of Tarask, now up on the Death Prophet. So she's gotten extra tanky since that following skirmish. Also has that plus 10 damage for that failed duel earlier. And important to remember that this Faceless Void will continue to scale very well towards the late game as that Hand of Midas kicks in. It's already starting to pay for itself a bit. He's middle of the pack and found some decent recovery. That Mask of Madness was his first core item following it. And an Aghanim Scepter, maybe. Not the most wombo combo-y team. He may just be looking for a little bit of right-click. This Vengeful Spirit won't scale super well, so I think building up this Void into like a Maelstrom, a crit, that kind of a style, may be the way they want to go. BKB could be an okay option here, but they've got quite a bit that goes through it. But also a lot that doesn't. The BKB is kind of 50-50. He may feel obligated to do it. The Centaur stun and all that, a Blink initiation. LC can still duel through it, and Lifestealer can still go pretty hard on you, but stuff like Ice Blast, everything that the Skywrath Mage can do, BKB will still be a valid choice for the Faceless Void this game, I think, no doubt. So Dire will move into the Ancients, clear it out. Era just starting to tank up as he is sort of becoming the front liner with these aggressive swaps. They will do a 4-hero smoke outside of the Dire Ancients. Quick's the only one not smoked up with him. He'll be the bait here, it looks like, as he presses into the lane. The rest of them rotate through the jungle. They'll bump into the Centaur. He'll be able to blink. The smoke gets revealed as Minis gets popped, but now they'll continue to press forward. Scouting Arrow comes through. And the LC will sidestep it, and no follow-up will come. Dire Observer comes down right, right into the middle of the Radiant Jungle, the Happy Mess Wards as they're titled here. But no skirmish will break out. Both sides will kind of move back. Lions just rotate around. They don't press the issue. Instead, they'll move into the lane. No Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane, so it is just Tier 3s. Only one Tier 2 still standing, and it's this one here on the side of the Radiant. That's the big disparity this game. 5-0 in total tower counts, and that's a 20,000 gold, 15,000 experience lead. Surprise inside, the LC once more. Stampede to initiate, but they see it, and Mini will force Staff back. Moonlight Shadow's used, but not enough to keep him safe, and that will be another successful duel on the LC, now up to 62 bonus damage. A noble effort from the Shadow Demon to try and force Steph away as soon as the Stampede came out, but no way to make it out. Faceless Void will take heed to the advice, and he's just going for the right click. So they will start to transition Jonas into more of a carry. He has a full Maelstrom on the way now, and that'll up his damage output quite significantly. Drums on the Mirana, so MyNut's doing the same kind of build that he likes. The mid-game oriented kind of fighting build into a Midas, and now he'll start to transition towards the late game a bit and have some carry potential himself. So I like the way Lions are handling this. They've gotten this early lead with their quote-unquote position 1 Venge taking over that early farm, and now they're going to kind of switch it up. And Venge is still the leading farmer, but they'll grab these farming tools on their tertiary carries and allow the Mirana and Void to slowly but surely float towards the top of the net worth chart so that they can tango in the late game if this Lifestealer continues to find decent farm and this LC continues to find successful duels. And speak of the devil, we'll see him find the Mirana in the jungle. That's another bout of extra damage, now up to 76, and it's starting to get a little scary as this LC really hurts in these duels. Is up to about 1,900 gold also, so he'll have his next core item before too long. Centaur, he's sitting at 3,100 gold. I'm curious where he's going from here. Pipe not going to be so great this game. Maybe the mech, as he does have that chainmail. They don't have a mech otherwise. A little bit late for a mech to come out, though. Doesn't mean we won't see it. Oh, pardon me, I'm tunnel vision on the Centaur here as the Skywrath gets picked off mid. Just a little too far forward. Centaur will buy something, and what is it? It's a Reaver, so okay, he's just going to go into the heart of Tarask here. Just a casual chainmail to get a little bit of extra armor. Maybe thinking about the mech, but then deciding to switch it up. And we'll just go full tank mode. Invisibility. So Era close to his Lincolns, actually about 100 gold away from the recipe, so he's getting pretty tanky. And of course, now that you can apply the buff to others, pretty good as the Faceless Void starts to become the frontliner, give him that Lincoln's buff, and transitioning into more utility-style Venge. I really like this this kind of style with the Venge, starting as a carry, then just moving into more utility items. Works pretty well, helps you transition towards the late game a bit more effectively. Ancient Apparition has finally found a baseline of farm, at least gets himself point booster to go with his brown boot, so a little more HP to play around with, and well, has a baseline of movement speed, I suppose you could say. Faceless Void still farming up a Storm. What do we have on the courier here? That's a plate mail coming out for Quicks, probably your Shiva's Gar, now on the DP, who's also found level 16, so Exorcism, that much more potent. Looks like Lions will just camp out the Roche Pit, and luck be have it, it'll be a pretty quick respawn. So they won't have to wait around too long. They'll use the second Aegis to try and take a team fight, and then perhaps look to breach the high ground. Still holding steady around their 20,000 gold advantage, 15 experience also. Ice Blast comes through, and let's look at the Radiant Vision. Will they get to scout out the Roche respawn? Oh, how bittersweet. The vision expires just before Roche respawns. They see that Lions were camping around the pit, but they quote-unquote know that Roche hasn't respawned yet. I guess on that same token, though, Lions will move out of the pit as soon as Roche comes up, so they won't be able to utilize that positioning for the super fast Roche respawn that's occurred, though they may check it out once more and then head into the pit. Jonas rotating towards the top lane, but this is a bit of a trap. There's a lot of support up here. He'll just go right onto Levy. Saw him hiding in the tree line, looking to bring him down. He'll find the kill, but it will cost him his life. He's just trying to make some space, though. It's a distraction while the rest of his team move into the Roche Pit. So Ancient Apparition, the one he wanted also because he's their global scouting tool. So with him stuck in the grave, they won't have any visual confirmation on Roche. And end of the day, Lions will be okay with trading a tier 1 tower for second Roche and also their Faceless Void for that one piece of global scouting power that BBC have. This time it's the Death Prophet that takes the Aegis, not the Vengeful Spirit. And it will be Lions to go on the aggressive here. Void down for another 30 seconds, but they're still a 4-man squad. And they're moving towards the mid lane. Looks like they have that tier 2 tower set in their sights. Radiant glyphed. Uh-oh. That's unfortunate. They'll glyph way too early. And Dire, they'll use their glyph now to buy themselves some time. And with the glyph down, this will end up being an easy push. Even the Exorcism used for it, Lincoln's buff applied to the Death Prophet. Ice Blast connects on quite a few, but doesn't really matter all that much. It will still be a tier 2 for tier 2 exchange. But now Lions, they go towards the high ground. They know there isn't a glyph. They've still got a lot of time left on the Exorcism, and it's level 3. By the time they're in a position to react, this will be a dead tier 3 tower. Lions getting a huge trade out of this, and with Quicks holding on to that Aegis of the Immortal, Immortal. They're not too afraid here. He will go down. They'll lose their LC. Also, winner goes to the Death Prophet as she stays standing. They lose their Venge in the fray. Now they'll lose their Shadow Demon, but in comes Jonas. He's got the Chronosphere, connects on 2. It'll be the end of W33. Solitude off to the side, caught inside of the Yules. Centaur comes in, whiffs the Hoof Stomp, and now Lions will get repelled. Buybacks being used here, 1 on each side. The Shadow Demon and the Lifestealer will both buy back, but it's still Lions that get a pretty good trade there. Maybe not the hero kill trade at the end. It's a big net worth going the way of BBC, even with the buyback. But they get the tier 3 tower, and that's pretty sizable at any stage of the game.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
So some of that rubber band effect coming into play here. We'll see BBC start to make a little recovery in terms of gold. Now a 10,000 gold lead where it was 15 not that long ago. They'll get a tier 1 tower kill out of it also, as Mini, he's in an awkward position here, presses forward, gets off a disruption on the Lifestealer, but now caught inside of the Hoof Stomp. Arrow flies through, misses on both, and Mini will fall. It's a dieback now. He's in the grave for 60 seconds, and all of a sudden BBC on the aggressive, and they'll take a tier 2 tower out of this. They'll get back-to-back towers, and the road to recovery is pretty real here, folks. The net worth continuing to move in their way, but here's the initiation. Glyph is used. They'll start things off. Swap onto W33. Lifestealer goes down again to start off this fight. Now a defensive stampede comes out. BBC on the run. Lions looking for some way to initiate and close the gap, but they can't find it. DP still with the Aegis of the Immortal in the inventory. Ultimate up in 15 seconds. They'll press forward. They know the Lifestealer bought back last time. He's in the grave for 65 seconds with no way to come back. And they'll use this exorcism to do as much damage as they can to this mid lane of Barracks. I don't think the Glyph is cooled down yet either. No, still on cooldown for about half duration. Well, Team Lions, they know their timings well. And they will press forward. Levy taking a lot of damage from the Ghost. Hockey, will he go for the duel? No, he gets silenced. Minots will take the Mystic Flare around the backside, but Solitude, now he's isolated outside of the base. Jonas has a Chronosphere, doesn't want to use it just on the Skywrath Mage. But meanwhile, Quix is just going hard in the mid lane onto the Barracks. Skywrath Mage will end up falling, buys back. Quix still has a good bit of duration left on the Exorcism. This is a mid lane of Rax down, and it's BBC that are now on the back foot after that successful counterplay towards the mid. The ranged Barracks stay standing with a couple of hit points to spare, but nothing a Manta style can't deal with, and good old Carty here will help bring it down. So after that back and forth play, Lions are the ones that come back out ahead, and we'll find a little bit of recovery in terms of net worth and experience. They secure the mid lane of Barracks, and will rotate down towards the bottom and get things a little bit reset. All right, Jonas. What's he working on here? 3,100 gold up on the Void. Could go for a full Mjolnir. Could also just be looking towards a crit at this point. Wouldn't be a bad choice. Daedalus, a great damage output item. And as I mentioned before, BKB might not be a bad choice. Death Prophet still with the Aegis of the Immortal. It will expire pretty soon here. So, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make great use of that. But they've already done a lot of work with the confidence that it's given them. Having their DP with a second life. 2,600 gold. Quix will be able to move into something else pretty soon here. Something like a Scythe might not be too bad, to be perfectly frank. Oh, what are you working on here, Era? Is that going to be a Scotty with this Ultimate Orb? He's already got the Lincolns and the Manta, so only so many things it can be. And I think we got a little Scatty coming out here on the Vengeful Spirit. I like it. Double damage room picked up on Jonas, and he'll move into what looks like an Aghanim Scepter here. So 34 minutes in, a little bit more delayed, but wants to beef up a bit more, and of course, get that Chronosphere on that super short cooldown. And a slightly longer duration. Minots has moved into a Lincoln Sphere of his own, so trying to find ways to deal with BBC, and double Lincolns is one way to do it. Looking at the Radiant side, if they found much item progression, and okay, they'll have the double-hearted Tarrasque. So Legion Commander now pretty tanky, 2,700 HP, and of course Centaur following suit with 2,800 of his own, and also 2,800 gold in the bank. Looks like he'll move towards an Assault Cuirass, has himself the Plate Mail and the Chain Mail. Well on his way, and actually just about half a recipe there. So now in the mid lane, we'll see some initiation. BBC will be on the back foot, but now they go in. Jonas, he'll get dueled, and the defensive disruption is there. That'll keep him alive, and no winner will come out right now. Swap to keep Jonas alive. He'll be able to reinitiate his Quix in the front lines, taking a lot of damage, but the Mystic Flare not enough to bring him down. The follow-up will be. Now Jonas going back in. Chrono on 2, brings down Solitude. Padrino will survive. So far, it's a 1-for-1. BBC now with a lot of low health heroes on the back foot. Will they lose anyone else? No, Lifestealer in the well, regenerating up. He almost goes down, but just barely survives with some armlet toggling. Not quite the clean engagement that the dire side were looking for. No doubt, Mini will shatter as Levy connects with an Ice Blast. So BBC make a hold here. It ends up being a 1 for 2. And again, because of that rubber band effect, BBC get a huge bout of momentum out of that, about 2,100 gold. And the Ancient Apparition getting the kill will yield him an Aghanim Scepter. That will make pushing a lot more difficult for Lions, as one of the better Ags upgrades in the game makes Frost Fingers there just a bit more potent. Still quite a while before third Roche comes up. Maybe something Lions will wait for before they want to commit too hard. Time will tell. Jonas now has his Aghanim Scepter complete. And we can see the power of this LC. Shadow Demon, a great hero to deal with him in terms of the duel. We saw the defensive disruption coming in handy in that fight. But 76 damage at the 35-minute mark. A few more duels, and you're looking at this LC and thinking, wow, does he hit hard? Smoke rotation from the Balkan Bears. And they're just going to head right into the dire jungle. They want to pick somebody off. They might find Jonas. He does have a Chronosphere at the ready. So unless they can crowd control him down, catch him with the duel, he might be able to Chrono survive this. Ice Blast to come through, and no way to react to that one. Except Era can. He'll swap it out. Jonas still gets shattered, and it will be a winner still for the LC. A little bit of extra damage, but Pedrino will get left behind. Stampede's been used. He'll try to TP home, but won't happen. Yules will be there to interrupt him, and now the Centaur certain to fall. It's a 1 for 1. Both offlaners get picked off, but now W33, he'll get left behind. He'll rage TP, and no way to stop it. So he makes it out, and the 1 for 1 trade, well, kind of a wash. A break even on both sides of the coin. Minut's going for a solo kill on Levy, perhaps. Throws a fishing arrow. Won't be able to connect with it, and we'll just have to walk back. Lions, I'm sure, happy that they itemized the way that they did, because they've got these double Hands of Midas, and that's letting them farm in this kind of late-game status now at the 37-minute mark. It's a little bit more of a stalemate, not so easy just to run up and break the high ground. And with these farming tools, they'll be able to farm up a Storm and keep their heads above water. DP with 3,000 gold, still looking towards her next investment. Looks like BBC may have had a minor, oh no, not a miscommunication. It looks like
Illusion.
Lifestealer will grab the Assault Cuirass, and the Centaur will be the one to grab the Shivas. It's still just that casual plate mail from earlier. Thought he was going to use it to some efficiency, but nope, just going to grab the plate mail to move into Shivas, and he's not far away. It's about 200 gold or so off the Mystic Staff, and of course that last little exchange in the dire jungle did set him back just a bit on that big item pickup. So, stalemate as it is, both teams just sitting back farming. BBC have lost a lot of map control. Just looking at their general ward coverage, they've got a lane ward down in the mid that's very soon to expire, and then they've got a ward out on their high ground here. A good place to have one at this stage in the game when you know the other team will be looking to push into your base before too long. Ice Blast to scout out the Roche pit. It will be a long Roche respawn, and not up for another 90 seconds. Lions do have control of this area of the map. They have one ward down in the middle of the jungle, and will be looking to secure that third Roche. The Scotty is up on Era. So look at this, 2,900 hit points on this Vengeful Spirit, hitting for nearly 300 a pop. It's kind of half utility, half carry, but Era is a scary force now. A long-range swap, and well, there's no getting away from him with this Scotty. Always a good choice against the Lifestealer also. Just to slow him down, slow down that attack speed, and just limit his damage output. That on top of the Shivas. Oh, it's good stuff. So BBC, they still have a sliver of hope. They're behind by a big margin. I'm talking up Lions quite a bit because they're just in a fantastic position. They've got this huge gold lead. They've got map control. They've had control of Roche this entire game. They'll probably get the third Roche. And they've got farming tools now. So they've kind of hedged their bets and put themselves in a great position. But BBC, they've been defending well. And if they can hold off another push the way they did last time, without losing much of their base, but maybe pick up a few more kills, they can counter push with some pretty serious momentum here. It's going to come down to execution in these last few fights towards their base, but it is a little bit scary that the dire side have map control. That's always where things are tipped at this stage of the game. Buyback status, let's see here. Dire have 3, and Radiant just 1 on the LC. So they've invested heavily in their items. And not a lot of buyback gold to go around right now. Shivas has been completed on the Centaur, and up top we'll see Solitude and Hockey they're pushing away. They're in a pretty aggressive position as Lions clear out the Radiant Ancients here, finding a little more efficiency, and they scout out Roche. They see his respawn. They're eyeing up that yummy, yummy cheese, the yummy cheddar. Double damage rune picked up on the Vengeful Spirit. Oh, this should make this all the easier. As Mask of Madness on, Jonas will charge right into the Roche pit, and they should be able to bring him down pretty quickly. Even if Ancient Apparition throws an Ice Blast and scouts this out, which he'll do right now, they're not going to be able to get here in time to contest. The minus armor just makes this so easy. And we'll see how they spread around the loot. Probably the Aegis to the Death Prophet. Okay, Aegis to the Immortal, to the Death Prophet, and Cheese to the Vengeful Spirit. So Era, the man of many swaps. Ooh, almost catch one there as he TP's out. The man of many swaps, though, will have a cheese, so if they jump on him, he'll be able to eat it. Ooh, here we go. And this is that stage in the game where those position 4 kind of potential carry heroes will start to come online, and my nuts. Picks up a Desolator, so say goodbye to your armor. Solitude, he'll get scouted out, and he's all by his lonesome. He's got a TP scroll, but what's he going to do? Stunned up by Era, gets clicked down, and yeah, Era finds a pretty easy kill there. And Skywrath will not have a buyback. They won't be able to make it to base in the next 60 seconds, but still a nice pick-off for Lions, and now I think they'll head towards the high ground. They've got Cheese, they got Aegis, a 5v4 on the field. They do lose their Tier 1 tower down in the bottom lane, but that's kind of to be expected at this point. Not going to cry over spilled milk. Okay.
Dire's bottom
DP picking up a point booster here, tanking up herself up to 2,800 hit points. And 3,100 gold. That's a rich Death Prophet. Ginza Lincoln's buff uses the Exorcism straight away. There is a glyph for the Radiant, and they'll use it after the tower takes the first round of Ghost damage. Aki looking for the right bout of initiation here. Walks into the Ghost, trying to return a little bit of damage, but oh, he'll take an arrow from behind. In comes the Stampede. Minot's taking a lot of damage. Defensive Disruption comes out. DP taking some heavy damage also, but it's Jonas that comes in. Chrono on 2, brings down the LC, brings down the Centaur. That'll be a buyback onto Big Brad, but now they've lost their Tier 3 tower. W33 going in onto the Death Prophet. There's your duel. Is there a defensive disruption? No, but there's a swap from Era. That'll be enough to keep their Death Prophet alive, stop the duel from being successful on either side of the coin. Lions taking a lot of damage. They may actually be repelled here. Marana and Vengeful Spirit have gone down. Their Aegis to the Immortal will be utilized. Jonas moves into the tree line to TP home, and Quicks will get picked off as he tries to make the escape. It did cost them 2 buybacks there to make it happen. Their LC and their Centaur, who were both caught in that chrono to get things started. So they hold, and looking at the teamfight recap, they will get a 2,000 net worth gain. So pretty solid for BBC. What they needed to do to make it happen, but they still lose a Tier 3 tower and their glyph. So let's see, what did Lions lose here? Did they use their cheese? No, they didn't. So they still have the cheese to utilize, lost their Aegis the Immortal, but the question is, what's to stop them from doing that again? They're not quite as cooldown reliant here when you're talking about buybacks and glyphs to make that hold versus an Exorcism and Chronosphere to set it up. So good hold for BBC, but all Lions have to do is rinse and repeat, do that once more, and when they don't have buybacks on these core heroes, things will be a lot more difficult. We'll see some more items picked up here as the Centaur moving in probably to a Halberd, has himself the Talisman of Evasion, so we'll be looking at a disarm tool. I think makes a lot of sense against some of these right clickers. Even the Marana is worthy of a disarm with that Desolator. She's starting to hit pretty damn hard herself. Let's see, Lifestealer, he's going to move into an Abyssal Blade. Has enough to complete it right now, but I think W33 will want to be pulling for buyback before he invests in that big item. Always a good item in terms of damage output. No BKBs on the Dire side, so not going to make too much use of that big stun that cuts through Magic Immunity, but still very useful. Gives a lot of utility in these fights. And as I mentioned before, a lot more damage going to be coming out onto this Lifestealer here in this next fight. Refresher Orb, soon to be up on the Faceless Void, just needs his Oblivion Staff, so we'll have a double Chrono out before too long here as Minuts gets initiated on. Defensive Disruption comes out, but that'll give a free duel, or will it? Silence flies through, Minuts survives, out comes the Exorcism, first Chrono. Dead Legion Commander and the Centaur will suffer the same fate. The two heroes with no buyback, stuck in the grave for a minute and a half. Sure, they had to use the Exorcism for it, but now they'll be able to press forward and possibly look towards high ground. The Shadow Demon will end up shattering to the effects of the Ice Blast, but now Faceless Void has his Refresher up. And what do Lions look to do? Yeah, 75 seconds. I think they can make it to the base and do a lot of damage here. Radiant Glyph still on cooldown for another 2 minutes. And these are two really key heroes. Sure, you've got your life stealer with a buyback. He has not bought his Abyssal Blade yet. But it's a 4v3 on the field, even without an exorcism. DP is still a scary force. She's got a soul booster up now, very tanky. Even spamming Crypt Swarm is something to be reckoned with. And also the Shivas will come in, connects with the Shivas onto Levi. Levy. So American. And they will commence the fight. And yeah, Levy, he gets dropped. Now the top barracks exposed. Will take a lot of damage from Era. He'll just use his Manta. This will be at least one lane of barracks. Now BBC really in a rough position. One lane of barracks down, not that hard to defend. 2, it gets pretty tricky. 3, yeah, nigh impossible. So it's a 5v3 on the field. They'll have an exorcism up in about 50 seconds, so not before these big heroes respawn, but now they'll just move into the tier 3 down bottom. And they've got this Desolator from Minots, makes this a lot easier. Jonas comes in with a chrono. Remember, he's got a refresher. He'll refresh right away. It'll be a double chrono. They won't even need it. They'll bring down the Life Stealer as well as his buddy Skywrath Mage. Buyback from the Life Stealer. And while the 2 that were caught without the buyback, the Legion Commander and the Centaur, they'll be respawning as their bottom lane of barracks get cleaned up. The surprise inside, and it simply doesn't matter. One final stand, perhaps. Centaur misses another hoof stomp, and that's going to be it. BBC called the GG well played as the Mega Creeps come out, and Padrino, he gets left behind. The second Chronosphere comes out, and that will be the end of it. Team Lions looking strong in this match, 41-24 in about 46 minutes of gameplay. They took a huge early lead. Era farming in the position 1 early on, made good use of it, set up a lot of kills around the map, and that farming Vengeful Spirit, a force to be reckoned with. So again, it is best of 3 series, folks. Now do or die for BBC, 1 game away from elimination. And on the flip side, Team Lions, 1 game away from securing their seat in the Summit by G2A.com Europe. I'm Zyori. You can follow me on Twitter at ZyoriTV. Of course, at Beyond the Summit as well to stay up to date with all things Summit related and the studio. We'll be back after this short break for Game 2 of this best of 3 series.